Hey, what's going on, everyone? Okay, so it's April 2nd, following one of the coldest winters we've had in a long time. So obviously we're not going to be doing any striper fishing for a while. I'm going to guess probably another, I'm going to say 6 weeks out because they're just not migrating. I just watched the migration, the striper migration show on the water, and everything's behind because it's not just the fact that we've had so much cold weather here in Maine, but all the way up and down, all through New England, and almost, somewhat down the whole eastern coast. So I'm predicting we won't see. I mean, I've seen fish for the last, oh God, few years, handful of years that have showed up the first week of May, but I don't think we're going to see that this year. So today I thought, you know what? People have asked me many, many times in the past, people I've run into, or whether they've made a comment on one of the videos or whatever, what do I use? How do I rig my baits? I think everyone knows I'm huge into my jerk baits. So I thought, let's do a video showing what I'm using today. What I have been using and what I will be using the rest of the, when the coming season. And I'm going to start with the rods. So right here, you'll notice, this is a St. Croix Premier 7-foot medium power. I have been using these St. Croix rods now for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. I've got a few of them, and this one is brand spanking new. I went down to South Carolina a week before last, hoping to fish. I did fish maybe 20 minutes. It was cold. We froze down there too. I mean, kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. I mean, I think the only warm days I had were travel days, so it didn't work. But the 20 minutes or so I did fish, I managed to break a rod, and I think it's just because of the way I stored it in my vehicle. So for some reason it broke, and I want to go over what happens when something like that, when you do break a rod, because they're not cheap. As you can see, this is not a cheap rod. However, and I've been doing this for several years, there's 2 ways to warranty your rods, these St. Croix rods. They have their own warranty. It's a good warranty. You go on the St. Croix warranty page, just punch it in on your phone. It's pretty easy. I think there's, a few things you got to fill out. You take a picture of your serial number, your model number, and you have to break the rod off right here, and you got to take a picture of that, and you send it in. Now, they want $60 for you to do that. It's for shipping and fees and whatnot. It used to be $50, now it's $60. But it's better than not having a rod at all. And the second way you can do it, which I do because I buy most of my gear at Cabela's, I could actually walk to Cabela's if I wanted. I'm that close to it. So I buy their gear guard. It used to be, when I first started doing this, it used to be, I think it was $24, which was reasonable. Now these rods that, that I'm using right now, normally, originally I was paying about $169 for them years ago, and now they're all the way up to $194. And it was $24 for the gear guard. Not anymore. It went up to 30 something a couple of years ago, and now it's 47. So I wasn't real thrilled with that, but hey, whatever. That's what you have to pay. So you just you scan this QR code, you register the rod, and then you put this someplace you can find it. I've had the habit in the past of just throwing them in my garage somewhere, and then I have to look forever to find them. Now I just tack them right to the garage wall so that I know when I break a rod, I know that's where it is. So that's that. So I love these rods, and the reason why is you have to be able to match your rod to the bait that you're casting all the time. And I thought I do. This is one of my baits, all set up. It's got a leader on it and everything. That's the, I don't know if that's a Smoky Shad or whatever, but it's a Z-Man jerk bait that I use all the time. I probably use the Z-Man jerk baits, 70, 80% of the time I'm fishing. And it's got a weight inside it. I will go over how I set these up. I know somebody else just asked me how to put them together, and it's kind of a unique way. I don't see a whole lot of people fishing that way, but what I like about this particular rod, this medium power fast action, I think they're all fast action, is that it fits perfectly. I can cast a mile with it. I can work the bait. I can feel the bait. So I know what I'm doing with it. It's a perfect setup for me. And it's taken years. I've had so many different rods and reels over the years. You got to find something that works for you. If you're not comfortable with it, if you can't work it, it's not going to work as well. Oh, you could probably still catch some fish, but you got to have something that's fine-tuned to what you're doing. And these rods work well. Now, I wish I had brought one out from the garage. I was going to do this in the garage today. However, it's like 40 degrees out. My garage, the temperature in my garage, I got a thermometer in there, and it was like 38 or something like that. It's just too cold. I don't know when this weather is going to give us a break. I'm looking at the next several days, and it's still not going to really warm up until sometime next week, which, keep your fingers crossed. We need some warm weather. The water's freezing cold. The other day I checked the water temperature in the, not way out front. It was 43 degrees. So we're a long ways from seeing that 50-degree water that I like to see when they first start showing up. So when I fish, last year I really got serious and started fishing the 9-inch, the 8-inch. This is the 7-inch. And I went to, the 8-inch is much bigger. I wish I had one with me to show you. I will show you that when I go through and show you how to rig these baits. So it's a much heavier bait. It's got a bigger weight. It's got a bigger hook. So if I tried to work that cast and work that bait with this rod, it doesn't fit. So I go up to a medium heavy St. Croix. Now, this particular model in St. Croix is called a Premier. They have all kinds of different models. They've got Mojo, Inshore. I'm not sure if they're all available now, but they also have cheaper models, and they're good rods. I really don't know why they're so much cheaper, but I think it's a Triumph. Their model called Triumph is like $110, which is a decent price for a really good rod. So they hold up. You don't, the little ceramic inserts on your tips. If you look, I don't know if you can see that, but the tip of these rods are tiny. But you want to have that ceramic insert in there. And over the years, I've had rods that where they don't last long. They pop off, and now you're fraying the heck out of your line. So that's what I like to use for rods. I used, you can use whatever. I used ugly sticks for years, indestructible. But what I found was when I was trying to work these jerk baits, it had just too soft a tip. I couldn't work them the way I like. So eventually, and they're reasonably priced. So if anybody's just starting out, you're perfectly fine with the ugly sticks and whatnot. I don't expect people to go out spend this kind of money getting into the sport. I'm retired. I've been doing it for a long, long time, and It's easier for me to spend a little more money on my gear. Plus, I fish all the time. I'm out, 4 or 5, sometimes, 7 days a week. I never know. So that's what I do for my rods. So my reels, just like my rods, I have been through so many reels over the years. I fished out of boats for, I don't know, 25, 30 years. And in a boat, it's a lot different. You can take care of your equipment in a boat a lot easier than you can when you're sitting in a little kayak that's just surrounded by water. Inevitably, you're going to dunk your reels. They're going to get into that salt water. So therefore, one, you have to take care of them. You should rinse them off every day. Every time you go out fishing, rinse them off. Get that salt water off it. But if you happen to drop it in the water and you've got a cheap reel, it's probably not going to last. It might work for the rest of the day. It might work maybe the next time, but eventually it'll start to seize up. You need a decent reel. And I've learned over the years, it really doesn't pay for me anyway. And this is all my opinion. Anybody else can, do what they want to. And many of you probably have different opinions about this, but I don't want to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on a reel, and then I dunk it in the water. I lose it, I break it, whatever. I want a reasonably priced reel that lasts. And about, I don't know, it's probably been 6 or 7 years ago, I found these Okuma, I call Inspira, Inspira. They're blue in color. They still sell these. This is the basic model. This is a 3000, and I bought one at where was it? It was at L.O. Beans. And I look for, the first thing I look for is the bail. The bail has to be rugged for me. I in and out of my kayak, in and out of my pickup truck, the back of my pickup truck, I noticed if I don't have a good, solid, rugged bail, they bend and they don't work as well. So I know I have Penn Shimano's, expensive reel, fairly expensive reels, and their bails are so thin that they're all misshaped now. They still work, but they're not as pretty as they were when I bought them. So these reels here, like I said, the Inspira, I think my oldest one, I finally had to get rid of it last year. I kept trying to, clean it up. I'll throw them in the dishwasher. It works for me. When they get kind of stiff on me, I'll throw them in the dishwasher. I'll take them apart and oil them up as much as I can. And I got like 6 or 7 years out of the thing. And when you consider I cast just thousands of times a year. I don't know how many really, but it's a lot. It's a lot of casting that I do with these reels. So they do get a workout. So a couple of years ago, I noticed that Okuma, this is the Okuma Inspira, they came out with another model in the Okuma Inspira. What do they call this? The Inspira, it's right here, XA. It's a different color altogether. And I said, I'll give it a shot. Now, when I first found them, they were $100. I think I bought another one last year, and it was around $100. I just kind of looked them up within the last couple of weeks, and I think they wanted like 120 for them. But that's still not bad, really. For a good quality reel, that's not a bad price. So they've worked great for me. Their drags have, really held up. They're easy to take apart. Now, when I say you want to clean them up, take them apart and clean them up, word of caution, I've learned the hard way. Don't try to dismantle them completely. I mean, maybe you're more mechanical than I am, but I've got myself in trouble going too far with taking them apart. And, I took the bail off one day, the spring went one way, a screw fell off on the floor, and I never did get the thing back together the way it should have been. So I just take the top off and the spool off itself and oil it up as much as I can. And if you're rinsing your reels off, frequently, you should be fine. So a couple of weeks ago, I did something I wasn't ready to do this year. I really didn't think I needed any new reels this year, but I've been tempted to try these reels that I've seen on YouTube channels down in Florida and other places several times. And at first it sounded like, I don't know, like it was a cheap reel or whatever, but these guys were really fishing with them, and I thought, I'll try it. So I just picked this up, and it was the same price, so I'm not complaining. It's called a PC Fun, and this one is the Nautil X, or Nautix. I'm not sure what and this is a 3000 also. As you can see, that one, their 3000 is slightly bigger than the Inspira. Is this a 3000? Sometimes I buy both. I buy 3000s and 4000s. And that's what I use for my jerk baits almost all the time. That's all I need. You get plenty of line on them. So that's the rod and the reel. Now the line, I'm a big Power Pro fan. I just ordered some Power Pro Slick. I haven't used that yet, but I learned the hard way that the braid that you use, I use braid, 20-pound braid is my go-to braid. I'll step it up to 30 and 40 if I'm doing a different type of fishing, but the Power Pro braid has really worked well for me. I think a few years back, I bought some Beyond braid, and I made the mistake. When I buy braid, I buy the big spools. I think it's 1,500 yards, and I spooled up a bunch of reels, and I fished for, I don't know, a couple of weeks with them, and I just said something's off. Well, what it was, that braid was not as forgiving. I don't want to say, it's not pliable, it just wasn't as flexible and as smooth as the Beyond braid. So I was losing, probably 10 yards on a cast, and it was driving me crazy. So I re-spooled back with my good old Power Pro, and I've been there ever since. I'm going to stay there until somebody convinces me otherwise, because it's not cheap. Braid is, if you go to Cabela's right now and you want, I think is it 300 yards, the smaller spools, it's like $30, $35. So it's not cheap. As a matter of fact, I got to spool this reel up. And I'll show you what I do. Every year, before I get going, once my reels are all cleaned up, usually I do that at the end of the year. Last year, I wasn't in good enough shape to do it. I had some issues, and I couldn't do what I normally would do at the end of the year. So I got to do it now. If you'll notice, this one is spooled up. And the line on this spool, if you notice, you're not going to see it in the camera, but that power braid is all faded and slightly frayed. It's amazing when it looks like that, when it's frayed. You'd think that line's going to break no matter what. And it just has always amazed me how well it still holds up. I try to, I keep an eye on it. Every so often I'll pull off, 10 yards or so and cut it off and make sure I'm not using that same 10 yards over and over again, because it takes the biggest abuse. So when it's time to change them, instead of re-spooling the whole rod with brand new braid, because I've got, I probably have 5 or 6 setups that I keep spooled with that size braid. What I've learned is I will take and put this reel on another rod, and I'll thread, and because this one, let's say I'll do it with this one. I should use this one as a good example. This is all ready to go. And this this one really needs it. It's pretty frayed, and it's light colored. You'll notice that's the amount of, that's probably a little less than what I normally would put on my rod because I've used this for so long, but it's still plenty of braid. These things hold plenty of braid. So I'll just thread this through it, another rod, down to that reel, and I'll take the line off this and thread it onto and reel it onto this. And when you get about halfway through that line, you'll notice that line is brand spanking new. So all that line, faded and slightly frayed line, is down on your reel, down at the base of your spool, and then at the top it'll be all brand new, and you'll probably have, you know, a few hundred yards of, or 150 yards of brand spanking new braid. So instead of just throwing all that braid away, just reel it on. And then, cause, you know, after next year, I'd have to replace it completely. So that's what I'll be doing in the next couple of days. I just hope it warms up enough so I don't have to go out there and freeze, but it doesn't look like it's going to be until maybe the end of next week. So that I wanted to get through that. So what I hope we're going to show after this is how big a fish do I catch on these really lightweight reels. I mean, lightweight rigs. They're not that, they're very lightweight. They're not huge. They're not meat sticks, as they say. They're very much a finesse reel, because a finesse rig, because you're working a bait in a certain way. This definitely is a smoking shad. I think this one's a new color, smelt or something like that. They've got some great new colors this year, Z-Man does. So the next time I see you, I'm going to probably do the same thing, only I'm just going to go through how I rig these jerk baits. You know, there's been years where these jerk baits have caught, well, one year I caught over 1,000 fish on these small 7 inch Z-Man jerk baits. Actually, that one year, same way, I was using Zoom, and I'll show you the difference between a Zoom bait and a Z-Man bait. So for right now, I don't think I have anything else. But if you have questions, just leave a comment. You know, even if you've got a better idea, let me know. I mean, this is what fishing's all about. You just keep learning the whole time. It's the beauty of the sport, especially striper fishing. So hopefully we'll have some video coming right up of these small rigs catching fish, you know, in the high 30s, early 40-inch fish, you know, probably 25 to 30-pound fish on these rigs, and they handle them just fine. So for right now, that's all I got. We'll see you next time. Oh, finally. Huh. I think we got a good one. Yeah, we've got a screamer. Screamer. Wow. Yeah, he's making some drag. I don't know where I'm going to put him. I'm going to have to get over here. Oh boy, I think we got our slotfish. I cannot budge him. He might be bigger. Oh boy. All right, where is he? He's gonna take me on that ledge, on that shelf. There he goes. Oh yeah, we got a beauty. We got a beauty. Oh goodness, look at that. He's tired, but I gotta get him over here. There you go. Come on, waves. Not over there. Oh God, look at that. We got a 40 something. Oh, he broke off. Okay, so I'm sure some of you are asking, why would I use a clip or footage where I actually lose the fish at the end? Good question. I wasn't going to use it, but I got thinking about it and I said, this is a teachable moment. That particular day, I had no intention of fishing off the rocks. I had no intention of really fishing. I was out scouting around, and I decided to go out and check over the rocks. And when I looked down over, I noticed seagulls up and down along the rocks, and they were circling. That always tells me that there's probably fish. Doesn't always mean it's true, but there's a good chance that there's fish down there. And I noticed a couple other guys fishing, and I said, I think I'm going to go grab. I always keep one, sometimes two rigs in the back of my truck, and I had my boots in there. So I said, you know what? I'm going to run back to the truck, grab my rig, and run down and see what happens. And I think I caught a couple, 3 fish before that too. However, this one was a big fish. And it was on the medium power St. Croix rod with a 3,000 or 4,000 Okuma reel. They held up fine. They did their job. The problem was I had 20-pound leader on. And if I know I'm going to go fish off the rocks, I will at least bump that up to 30, maybe 40. Not because I have a better chance of handling the fish when it's out front in open water. It's the difficult part when fishing off the rocks is finding a way to land the fish. It's difficult. You have to find a place where the surf will help you bring that fish in. And in that situation, I found that spot, but once the surf stopped and reversed, I knew that 20-pound test probably wasn't going to hold up. I needed to not let that fish turn and head back towards the ocean. And he was able to do that. I just knew that line was going to break. And when he turned around, I said, this is it. He's just going to snap me off. That's all there is to it. So the rig held up fine. But at the same time, it kind of, like I said, it's a teachable moment. You need to have heavier leader, not specifically, so that you can handle a fish when it's out in open water, but to get it up on on the rocks as easy as possible, and land the thing. So that's all I've got for right now. It's April 7th as I'm sitting here, and I'd show you, but you don't want to see it. It's snowing like crazy outside. The ground's all white. We've had enough of this. We need a break, and it looks like it's coming by the end of this week. It's Tuesday now, and they're saying by Friday. So we're getting closer all the time. So hang in there. In my next video, I'm going to go over the baits, those jerk baits that I like to use, that I talk about all the time, and I'll show you exactly what I use, how I came up, how I got to where I am today with them, and how to rig them, and how to work them. So tune in for the next one, and we'll see you then.